welcome back down to the new plot. It's a pretty miserable, wet, damp day today, but I want to get on with some stuff. As you can see behind me, I've got these two beds on some of the other beds down here. I started to fill them up with some soil. So today's job is going to be to look at this top area over here. So this is where it's been covered up for a while, so there's some reasonable soil in there. It's going to take the covers back on that, dig out some of the sort of top 2 or 3 inches of soil on there to put into these beds, and then try and get some membrane and some bark down on there. The other thing we need to do is follow me around. Down here is the line of the plot, and it comes down to about this marker. So there's a bit of grass that runs all the way down this bit. So we're going to cut that grass and just flip the turfs, and there's a little bit of a gap down here and a trench down here that we need to fill in, but hopefully by cutting those turfs and turning that over, you can see, look, we were saying about rats earlier and mice, but you can see, if you look down here, you can see that there's like holes where they buried all underneath all of this. So there we are down at the plot. I'm going to get these covers off, even though it's a bit damp and drizzly. The soil under there is nice and dry, so hopefully as long as we can get in and dug out before all this misty rain comes over, it'll be a good job. The other thing we've started doing is this wood chip that we collected, but this is just a bag of grass and muck. We started to sort through that big pile of stuff that was down the bottom there, and we've got all the woody sticky bits there which we'll dispose of elsewhere, and this stuff here we'll mix in with some cardboard when we move the composters. And then once we've done all that, as I say, I don't think we'll get to it today, but the next part of the job is going to be using some of this soil, lumped up soil that's down here to, as you can see, it drops off a little bit from that bed down. So use some of this soil, scrape that across. First we need to dig out there because there was a load of sort of thistles in there. So a lot of the roots are actually still in there, so we need to fork all that over, clean those sheets off. There's a black sheet on there and there's also another membrane sheet underneath. So we'll get all that area cleared off and then leveled off, and then we can extend that area down to the end of the plot. And then that will just leave, once we've done the top bit, that will just leave this section down in here to do. So it's a bit of a wet and miserable morning at the moment, so we're going to crack on, I guess, and we shall get those sheets off, fold them back, and I'm not sure how far it comes down. So looking on the plot down here, I mean, it definitely, that soil, good soil, definitely goes down to at least where that car tyre is. I think it might potentially go all the way down to this impromptu pond that we've got going on here. So we shall see. We shall get all that stuff off. It needs a few minutes just to clear off all these rocks and bits, and then we shall start digging and get the wheelbarrow out and start topping up those other 2 beds. So aim is to try and get those far 2 beds filled up mostly, so that we've just got enough room to put some nice compost or something on top out of the composter, just to enrich the soil a little bit. And any others we can fill up will be a bonus. So let's pack the phone away and get the tools out and crack on. So I'm not quite sure what happened to the audio here, so I'm going to have to voice it over. Once we've got our beds in place, we obviously put them on top of the membrane where the bark is. So then we just cut down through the membrane in a sort of diagonally out for each corner, and then we're going to fold that membrane back over, and then after that we're going to line it with the a few strips. We've cut a few strips of the black sheeting, the thick black sheeting that was covering the top bed, and as we've rolled that back, we've actually cut a few strips to put round the actual bed. So we're just going to fold those bits over, and then we're going to get a black sheeting and going to staple that round. Now the reason I'm just going to do that is partially it keeps the moisture from the soil off of the wood, and also the other thing is that I tend to treat the all the wood and stuff with teak oil, and I don't want that teak oil leaching itself into the bed. So these are the strips of wood that we've actually the strips of plastic that we've cut off of the membrane, and then it's just a case of stapling that round all the way around the actual bed. What I found in the past is in beds where I haven't done this, what tends to happen is the edge of the bed really dries out, because when it gets hot weather, the moisture from the soil goes into the wood then evaporates that off, and it's just a continual process. So in the summer, the edges of the bed sort of like really dry out, and then the soil sort of shrinks back, and you end up like with a gulf around the edge of the bed where the soil's all dried out. So here's me working super fast, just getting that all around. As you see, this is one of the beds where there's a little bit of sort of leftover grass in the bottom of it. So we're just going to be, once we've done this, we're just going to actually cut off the excess membrane that was around the top, and then we're going to get some cardboard and just like get that, so cutting off all those bits, and then going to get some cardboard and put that down inside before we put the soil down on it. There he is, good boy, with the cardboard. So just going to lay that down in there, and then just push some soil up on top. So on some of the other beds we haven't used cardboard because it's been reasonably clean soil, but where we've got grass, we've put the cardboard in. And there we go, job done. Well, we're about an hour or so later, and as you can see, now leveled it all off, raked it all over, some hard forking and raking over. Now this bit down here, once we dug out the high edge of the grass, it's about level with what it is. So what we're going to do is, when we put the membrane down, we're going to put some cardboard along that edge underneath the membrane to suppress that grass, and if it causes a problem, it's not a problem, we can always just lift it up and dig it over again. But that's where we are now, all ready and level and ready to put some membrane down. So we'll crack on, get some membrane down, get some beds positioned, and then get some bark chippings on. Well, it hasn't stopped being damp and miserable weather all day long, but that hasn't stopped us making some progress, and I'll show you where we got to. So here we are up in the top corner, got the membrane down, got the other two beds in position. It's just that last bed that's down there needs to go at the far end rather than there. And we emptied the big bag of bark, and we've got down to there so far. We have got some more bark down at the end of the plot to finish that off, but for the time being, that will probably be it. I just need to pull that sheet back across to where the bark is, just to protect the membrane and stop any of that other grass that's poking out the edge growing, and that'll be it for the day. So that's about it for today. I'm out of juice physically. I'm out of juice in terms of refreshments as well. So I need to go home, have a shower, get all this mud off me. I feel like I'm actually about 2 inches taller than I normally am, because there's so much mud and stuff caked on the bottom of my boots. So give them a scrape off, tidy up the rest of the tools, lock up, and we'll catch you again next time. So, but for the time being, we are, well, I mean, looking at it, we got those 3 beds there. I think we are halfway in terms of coverage. Obviously they still need filling with some soil, but in terms of coverage, I think we're about halfway. And as I say, the aim really is just to get the beds of everything in place, get at least 3 beds operational, which I think we pretty much have. I'll show you those 3 beds just before we go. So these are the 3 beds that we've got going. There's enough there. We'll just chuck a few bit of compost on top. There's 1, 2, and then that last one that we were doing the cardboard on earlier, 3. And as I say, this bed that's here is actually going down there, down in this bit here. But we need to clear all that bit first. But for today, not bad progress made. I'll check out, and we will catch you again next time. Cheerio.